So we're ready to actually start making polygons and making geometry for our head. What I'm going to do is I'm going to full screen maximize this front view. For now we're just going to start working in the front view. You can do that by holding down Alt and pressing W, or using this little button down here in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, with that maximized we can see everything. To make this face I'm going to be using a technique that uses a single plane. So I'm just going to grab the plane tool, drag out a single plane like this, and come to the modify tab and turn it into an editable poly. What that does, it enables me to access the individual vertices of this polygon. So the majority of the time I'm going to be moving these polygons around like this using the move tool, which is W on your keyboard, or using this tool up here. You can drag select the vertices you want to move. So I'm going to drag select these using the move tool, move them into place at the corner of the eye. And grab these edges and move them to the vertical middle here. I'm just going to turn the grid on so that we can see where the 0 is, and I'm going to align them with that. You can also turn on snapping so that it snaps to specific grid points. You can change the way it snaps by right clicking on it and changing these options in here. The first technique I'm going to need to show you is called connect. So I'm going to grab the edge tool here by either pressing 2 on my keyboard or clicking the edge tool here in the selection part of the modify tab. I'm going to select these two edges. These two edges, I want to connect them. I'm going to find this edge, edit edges part, and hit connect. You can see how it's connected those two edges together by making this new edge here. This edge can be moved around like this, and it's created two vertices here as well. I can move these individually into place. Right. Second technique you're going to need to learn is with the edge tool connected. We're going to select an edge where we want more geometry, and I'm going to hold down Shift and move the edge. You can see how it's creating a new polygon here. If I hit Alt X and hit F4 to bring up the line so you can see it more clearly. You can see that we've got a new vertex here connecting these edges together. So I'm just going to nudge these into place. I want this up here. So again, I'm going to use the edge selection tool, select the edge that I want to extrude, hold down Shift and move it out away from it like that. See, it creates another edge there. Going back to the vertices selection tool and move them into place. I'm just getting the big basic shapes out first so that we can edit it later on. I'm trying to follow this shape in the background. I'm going to connect these two edges here to get a line in the middle here. And I'm going to move this vertex up so that it follows the shape of this eye more closely. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom of the eye. Grab these two edges here, hit connect, hit that, and then just nudge these vertices into place. I think I'm going to put a little bit of extra geometry in here just to describe this little curve. So I'm going to grab these two, hit connect again, grab the vertex and nudge it up till it follows that line. So you can see we're starting to get the shape of the eye out. Right, I'm going to continue this along by grabbing the edge tool, holding down shift, drag it out, and I'm going to go right to this corner here. I'm going to do the same for this. Drag it out like this. Now I'm going to need to show you another technique here for connecting vertices. You can see if I just move these two vertices together, closer, that they are still separate entities. They won't connect together. If I just grab one of them, they're disconnected. So what I'm going to need to do is pull them apart again so I can see them. And I'm going to use this tool called Target Weld over here. I'm going to click Target Weld, click on the vertice I want to move, and click on the vertice I want it to be welded to. So now these vertices are welded together, so if I grab the Move tool, grab the vertice, they now move together at the same time. I'm just going to add a little more geometry in here so that we get a smoother curve. By grabbing these two and hitting connect. Then going back to the vertice tool and moving these vertices out like this. Okay, once again I'm going to grab my edge tool. I'm going to grab this edge here, drag it out, and again I'm grabbing my target weld and welding these two together so they could get stitched together. And I'm going to move this up so that it lines up like that. Just going to move these into more of a even spacing. So I get nice even quads around the eyes. So if I minimize this window like this by hitting this or hitting Alt W again, we can see that it doesn't quite line up with our side view. So what I'm going to do is grab all of these vertices here in the left hand view like this and move them all the way out to the edge of the eye. Now I'm going to need to define the shape a bit, so I'm going to bring this line here, which is meant to be the bridge of the nose here, going to bring it right out so that it lines up with this edge line here. So I'm going to grab this, bring it out to there. I'm hitting F4 just to show the lines again, the wireframe. Move it out so it follows this shape. The inside of the eye I'm going to bring out to about here. The outside edge of the eye needs to come back to meet this part here. This middle edge of the eye, which is the furthest part forward, needs to come forward to about there. So I can see in the top view that it's not quite as smooth as it needs to be, so I'm going to smooth them out by nudging them so we get a nice curve. You can also use the perspective view to see how we're doing. Okay, I'm going to need more geometry in here, but I'll add that later on so that we can describe the nose. Actually, in fact, I'll do it now. So I'm grabbing my edge tool, grabbing these three edges and hitting connect. And you can see how we get an edge line there. With that selected, I'm going to bring it out some more to about there. I'm going to grab this top vertice and take it back a little bit so that we get a smoother transition for the nose. This can maybe come this vertice here, maybe come forward a little, just a little, and this one needs to come forward a lot. Okay, so the underside of the cheek, this bit here needs to be pushed out, so I'm holding down Control to select multiple vertices, and I'm pulling them out like this, so that we get a little bit of a cheekbone showing. This needs to be pulled forward slightly. Okay. Up to this point you can see how I've only been working on one half of the face. What I'm going to do is come to the modifier tab. Under this modifier drop down list, I'm going to apply a symmetry modifier. Right. Now I have a symmetry modifier. I'm going to hit this little plus sign and grab the mirror. With this mirror, I'm going to move it into place along the 0 in the x-axis here, so that it lines up with the middle. And you can see how that's made both halves of the face appear.